Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lord Chipmunk, and what I'm going to try and do this time is something a little bit different. So firstly, you have my wonderful dulcet tones acting as commentary. And secondly, I'm going to show you two video clips today, both of the KV-1, which is the Tier 5 heavy tank for the Russians, and it is one of the most played tanks in World of Tanks. And what I'm going to try and show you in these two games is what I think is the single best feature of the KV-1. It's sheer resilience. I mean, the gun is a bit mediocre, the mobility is not very good. I mean, it's a heavy tank at the end of the day, and this is a heavy tank. But it is very, very resilient. And you're also going to see use of side scraping. If you don't know what that is, well, you're about to see it. So we are here on, good lord, I can't remember what this map is. Highway? I can't remember. Anyway, we spawned down here on the left hand, the bottom left corner. So, some people don't like this spawn site because if you're heading into town, you can be spotted moving up toward the town, and so I like to drive up on this far side of the road because you can see the road is slightly raised, and so it provides you a little bit of cover. And what I'm about to do, I do not recommend. I'm about to stop on the road, aim, and fire at that medium. I'm pretty sure I hit him. But I really wouldn't recommend that. You can see there's a Sherman driver there who's advising against that. I was a bit miffed that I didn't listen to him. You really want, if you're going to do this, you really want to get into town as soon as you can. But anyway, you know, I'm a top tier heavy tank. Really, I should be in town. And you can see, just to start with, we are cleaning up. I mean, we are 7-1 up before I've even managed to really achieve anything. Maybe I did some damage to that tier 3 medium tank, but at the end of the day, it's a bottom tier medium tank. I mean, who cares? I haven't really achieved a great deal. I'm a top tier heavy, I should have achieved more than this. But as I say, this is going to be about the KV-1's resilience. So we are actually going to have a bit of a scrap in the town. And most of the tanks that have so far been lost on the enemy team have been out on that far flank, up, you know, down the 1-2 line. The bit that is normally occupied by light tanks, medium tanks and tank destroyers. So we are the first heavy tank to make it into the town. One thing I would actually recommend is when you see the battle results screens at the end, take a good look at the potential damage received. It's due in no small part to a Sherman firing high explosive at me. So we have found contact, and it is another KV-1. So we're going to see if we can do a bit of side scraping. Or we are in a minute, I think. Well, there's the Sherman who is going to get on my nerves. Okay, so firstly, we try and put some damage on that KV-1, but we found miserably. So this is kind of side scraping. The idea of side scraping is that you keep your front plate covered up by some obstacle in front of you. And by covered up, I mean you just deprive your enemy of a shot at it. And you try and expose your side armour at a very extreme angle so that any shot they fire at your side will hopefully either just bounce or it will just take out your tracks. And you can see my tracks have been taken out a number of times. And this is one of the reasons why repair skill on a heavy tank is fantastic. So we're just going to sit here, and this KV-1 is angled, but you know, we're just going to shoot him and whittle him down, and he's going to bounce off our side or he's going to take out our tracks all day long, and we're golden. So that's that KV-1 dealt with. Sherman time. He is going to be a nuisance, trust me. So I mean, you can easily see we are winning this game. It would take a miracle for the enemy to win this. But we can still rack up some experience and do some damage. So again, we're still side scraping with that Sherman in mind. Now, he's going to be a nuisance because he's using the howitzer and he's firing high explosive. So he's pretty much always going to do at least some damage to us. And side scraping is kind of less effective. And actually, from his angle, we're not really side scraping, we're just kind of vaguely angled. So we're going to go back to having a go at this KV-1. And we managed to track him. One of our Shermans is whinging about how long we're taking to get into town. Well, you know, I'm taking a bit of a pounding here. Shut up, mate. Now you can see that the high explosive from the Sherman isn't doing a huge amount of damage. Oh, the Sherman is really not happy, is he? But it is slowly whittling us down. So we are just going to sit here and we are going to take hits from people. And we'll be fine, basically. Now the Sherman, as I say, is slowly whittling us down. But there we go. From the KV-1, we're golden. Now, I mean, we're top tier here, so you would expect us to do reasonably well. And so we're just going to come out and we're going to shoot that KV-1 and take his tracks out again. That's annoying. And we're tracked once more. I spend a lot of time tracked. And you can see they've kind of pulled it back a little bit. They're still not really in a good place, but we've pulled it back a bit. And I've taken some more damage, so I make that Sherman revise his life choices by putting an 85mm shell into his face. And we kill that KV-1. Showtime, bitch. I see. Fair enough. Now, you can see we're on 7 health. This is suboptimal. But this Sherman is a one-shot for me. And he doesn't seem massively keen on coming out to play with us. Oh, we almost have him, but, you know, it's eaten by his tracks or something. Which is annoying. The tracks on the KV-1 are very good at eating shells. The only tank I can think of at tier 5 that does it better is the T1. But in that case, it's a bit of a risk because the actual side armour on the T1 is paper thin. Anyway, you can see we're just about to win. Bazinga! That's fantastic. So have a look at the post-battle results and see how much potential damage I did. You might be pleasantly surprised, bearing in mind this tank has 640 health. Anyway, we'll move on to another replay. So, this is our second game, and this one is a little bit different. Last time we were top tier, this time we're mid tier. It's a tier 6 game, we're in a tier 5 heavy, but we can still do well. So, the gun is still mediocre. Some people think the gun is really good, it's not. The gun is adequate. And again, it's going to be the armour that really does it for us. We have, as I've mentioned before, 640 health, and we're in a game with KV-1Ss, T150s. These guys have 800, 900 health, 800 and something in most cases. And, they have better armour than us in some cases. The 88 is armoured like Fort Knox, for goodness sake. So, kind of start off thinking about what we're actually going to do and try and achieve here. So, initially, I'm going to hook a left, and head towards that sort of T junction, that intersection at G7, because it gives you some options. But I see there's very few people going this way, and so this is something if you don't already, you might want to consider doing, looking at how your team's splitting, and especially if you're in a tank that can hold a flank, and the KV-1 can, even in a tier 6 game, the KV-1 can hold its own, then you might want to consider going the other way, because if no one goes that way, well, your team's probably going to be in some serious doo-doo. You can see one of our KV-1Ss hasn't even loaded up yet, but this really is going to be a bit of a scrap between some Russian heavy tanks. And you can see we've got a KV-1S next to us there. He doesn't have the top gun, that 122mm death cannon. On a tier 6 machine it is lethal, especially on a turreted tier 6 machine that's mobile like the KV-1S. Anyway, he doesn't have it. So, we're going to meet some bad guys. And we have some support, that's good. Okay, we have slightly less support now. Our M7 just got obliterated, but it's still okay, it's still good. And again, we're going to do a bit of side scraping, because side scraping is fantastic, especially if you have half decent side armour. So there we managed to put a shot through the front of a KV-1S. KV-1S does not have the best armour in the world. And I'm coming around this corner, angling my front, so hopefully any shots at me will either hit the KV-1S in front of me, who's partially obscuring me, or will struggle with the angled armour. There's a Churchill, and you can see we take a couple of bounces there. we missed the Churchill. I mean, it's a bit of a snapshot. One of the big problems, we bounce on the KV-1S, one of the, well, not problems, but the frustrating things about this gun is that it has a reasonably long aim time. So you're going to spend quite a bit of your time waiting for the gun to aim, and if you don't wait for it to aim, well, you can take the snapshot, but the gun isn't very accurate. It's the 85mm that you get on some of the mediums as well. And oh dear, we just lost the KV-1S that was sitting in front of us. But we put some pain through, I'm not actually sure what we put some pain through there. Was it the Churchill or the KV-1S? Anyway, the dead KV-1S in front of me is at least going to provide some cover, which is something. So, well, we take a shot there straight through the turret. By the look of it. Is that through the turret? Whatever, who cares? So we're trying to just expose the front of our turret. We have to expose our turret to shoot them, and our side armour at an extreme angle. And boom, we managed to put a shot through the Churchill. And again, we take another bounce. So you can see, ooh, someone takes out the Stug. There's me and a Stug here, and there's 3 enemy heavies over there. 2 KV-1Ss and a Churchill. Churchill 1. Ooh, KV-1S, boom, put him on 15%. Excellent, we'll have some more of that. Take the snapshot. It's unlikely to do anything, but I'm not exactly short on ammunition. And the shells aren't very expensive. So you can see there, KV-1S fires that big old gun. Ooh, Churchill puts some pain on us. KV-1S fires that big old gun, but doesn't achieve a great deal of much. And again, the Churchill puts some more pain on us. So he's obviously got shots at our front. And oh, this could be bad. Now, if these 2 KV-1Ss and the Churchill had worked together, my ally's now dead. They could have come over here and completely destroyed me, but they don't. They come over one at a time, and so I can side scrape against this first KV-1S and just put some hurt on him while bouncing his return shots. And you'll notice he does have the big 122mm gun, but suddenly he's on 9% and not looking quite so clever, and I'm just side scraping, shot through the lower frontal plate. Boom, dead, move on. And I'd like some help here, because it's still 2v1. I mean, they're on lowish health, but my health isn't looking fantastic, and that KV-1S only needs to penetrate me once, and I'm gone. So, yeah, we failed to hurt that Churchill. But we've dealt with one of those KV-1Ss, so, you know, it's not too bad at the moment. Next. I mean, the KV-1 really is a bullying tank, and if you're fighting against people who are inexperienced, or they're not really working well together, you can just bully them so much. There we go, shot straight through the turret of the Churchill 1, and an easy 8 finishes him off. So suddenly, it's just me versus a KV-1S. Now I don't know, oh god, I was about to say I don't know exactly where he is, but there he is, 1 KV-1S. And I'm trying to side scrape against him. And, oh hello, we'll take that shot, dead. So, okay, I had a little bit of help here, but I'm not top tier, and my allies just died around me. So, you know, the KV-1, bouncing those Russian... I didn't actually take a single penetrating hit from the Russian KV-1Ss. My penetrating hits were from things like the Churchill with their more accurate gun. The KV-1S shots were just bouncing off my side armour. And that's what you can do with a little bit of side scraping, and with a tank with good armour, especially good side armour, and with tracks that will eat a lot of shots, you can just keep taking the punishment. And I mean, this game is over. They've just got their artillery left, and I don't think I'm going to get there on time. I can't remember, to be honest. But, you know, you can see how survivable this thing is. And so, I mean, there's no amazing stats. I get top XP in this game. There's no amazing stats afterwards. And you can see there, the Churchill was putting shots straight through the front of my turret. Through my gun mantle. Wow. Makes me wonder if he was firing gold. Oh well. There we go. Artillery dead. Game over. So yeah, that's just an example of what you can do in the KV-1. A very good, very popular, very solid, tier 5 heavy tank. It is kind of the first tank you meet in the game that epitomises what a heavy tank is. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed those games. If you found them vaguely informative or vaguely useful, all the better. And I will hopefully upload some more commentaries in the future. So thank you very much for watching.